with respect to your enum, how to work with the enum, and what is the difference between going with the final variables and declaring something as a enum, right? Now we said that we need to discuss how to use a switch statement in an enum. That means for a switch statement, how to pass an argument as an enum, right? So for a switch, you will be passing a case, right? So whichever value it will match, it will go to that particular case, right? So here, let us create one variable of a enum. Month yum is equal to month dot jan, right? So now the value in a month, yum, right? So yum is of a type enum called a month, right? So let us write a switch statement based on the value of yum. Switch statement based on a value of yum. Case, if the value is jan, right? System dot out dot println of jan is selected, right? Break. Similarly, case feb colon, let me copy paste these statements. Feb is selected, then case colon march, right? Okay, if I run my program, what will be output now? If I run the program, what will be the output? No errors. No errors in the sense, for a switch statement, you can pass this particular enumerated object, correct? From which version this is supported? When enumeration came in a 1.5 version, obviously this also will be supported from a 1.5 version itself, right? From a version 1.5 onwards, this is possible. That means you can pass enumerated object as an argument for the switch statement, right? If I run my program, what will be output now? Jan is selected. Yes. Compile fine. Jan is selected. Clear? Any doubts with respect to this example? If you don't have doubt, then I have a doubt. Okay. Let me put my doubt in front of you. Here, case, is it possible? We can write that. Okay, that means you mean to say it is possible. Okay, any other answers? Is it possible? Yes, we can. Okay, so let us just cross check. If I'm pausing and asking a question, means there will be something, right? What did he say? Switch case label must be unique qualified name of an enumeration constant. Case APR colon system.out.println Java Jan is selected. One error is there. What does this means is, observe the things carefully. What type of a value you are passing to a switch statement? Type of month. Okay. What we have said, what values this particular yum can have? It can have only values in this particular range, not the values outside of this range, right? When I'm declaring object of this particular enumeration called as a month, obviously this yum can take a values or the constants which are declared in this particular enum. It cannot take a values which is not declared in this particular enum, right? Now When you are writing a case, what you are writing? You are writing a APR. That means you are talking about April, whether that particular APR has been included in this particular enum. Not included. When it is not included, whether that particular APR is a valid value with respect to M. Obviously not, because that does not belong to a list of a constants of a month, right? When it does not belong, obviously this case will be an invalid case. If I want to keep our things in a simple fashion, say for example, while discussing a switch statement, we have said that whether a switch will accept a byte as argument. Yes, it will accept a byte as argument. It will accept a byte. It will accept a int. It will accept a char, right? Will it accept a boolean? I said boolean. If you are giving, it will kick you. It will say if a condition is only true or false, why you are writing a switch statement? You can write a if statement, right? So what was the conclusion was, whatever is the type of this particular argument you are going to give for the switch, right? Within its range, the cases are possible, right? That means if you are taking a value as a byte, right? Whatever is the range of a byte, that means minus 128 to a positive 127, that is a 256. You can write only 256 cases. This is what we have said when we were discussing the switch statement long ago, so long ago, right? So with respect to switch statement, what you have to remember is the possibility in a cases, how many number of cases you can write is, it completely depends on what argument you are passing. Okay, if an argument is of a byte type, then only 256 cases is possible. If you are going with any enumerated constant or enumerated object, then you can have a cases which belongs to the constant in that particular enum declaration, right? If you are writing any other cases which is not a part of that particular enumeration constant list, then that particular case will give you an error, right? So how to solve this particular error now? What it was saying, this particular case label must be unique qualified name, right? So what can be done to remove this particular error? Simple, you add an element called a APR here. So obviously it will be having a possible case. Then when it is having a possible case, obviously it won't throw you any error. And m you are assigning to a jan, so it will happily display that particular jan for you. Is that clear? If you are clear with this example, then I have one more question for you. Okay, let me put one more question. Is it possible to write something like this? Is it possible? Okay, so what might be the error if it is a no? Error is you are declaring a enum as a m. When you are declaring enum as a m, obviously this m should take any of these four values. How you are assigning some other value which is not part of this particular list? Correct? Okay, let us just cross check. Is it the same error what it is showing or what? Cannot find a symbol month dot May. That means you don't have any constant specified, something like that. Clear, right? APR. Is it fine? Can I write something like this? M has been assigned with the APR and you don't have a case with respect to APR. Is it fine or will it show any error? Can it be written something like this? Let us just cross check. No errors. That means you can happily give, because when it is assigning, it will just cross check whether this particular APR belongs to a list of constants or not. Yes, it is belong to a list of constants. So happily this particular APR will be assigned to this particular enumerated data type called as M. Clear? Yes. Case you have not written, then obviously it will not print anything, because APR case you didn't write. Okay, so cross check Same thing, no output given because that particular value is not matching with any of the cases. Clear with the example, clear with all the scenarios. Beautiful. Done. Let me remove this part because we have to discuss one more topic with respect to enumerations. Okay, so that particular topic is, I said in the morning session that we need to discuss what is called as methods in enumeration. Okay, so there are a few methods with respect to enumeration, but we will be discussing two methods as of now. Okay, so one method is ordinal, right? Another one is values, right? So what ordinal will do is ordinal will give you, I think I said the same thing, right? You are able to see whatever it's done. Okay, right. Ordinal will give you index of enum constant. Okay, ordinal will give you index of enum constant, right? Values will return the set of constants in the enum. Okay, so you have seen with respect to arrays, you might have seen there will be arrays, each element will be identified by its index value, right? So in a similar lines, even with respect to enums, you will be having indexes associated with it, right? So the first constant will be having an index 0 followed by all other things. All other constants will be having an index greater than the first one. Okay, so this particular values will just return how many number of elements, whatever the elements are there with respect to enum, it will display, means it will return all those values, right? Shall we see example on these two methods? Clear with ordinal and values, right? Ordinal will give you an index and the values will give you a list of elements. Clear? Okay, here is our program. Right. So I was discussing ordinal and values method. So first, let us see ordinal. What ordinal method? Okay. So system dot out dot println of. I just wanted to check what is the ordinal value of Jan. Okay. So let me have some variable, that means object month yum is equal to month dot jan, right? So this is the constant which I'm adding to a object called as a yum, right? So now what is my intention is I just wanted to check what is ordinal value of this particular yum. Okay, so right, let us just compile and check what is ordinal value of that particular jan. See, it is showing 0. That means jan is present at the index called as 0. Okay, so can we print all the, so means ordinal values of all the elements? Now I wanted to print ordinal value of all the elements. Is it possible to print that one? Let us try. Okay, now for, observe the things carefully. Month yum colon month dot values. Values is a method, right? So within this for loop, system dot out dot print ln. I just wanted to print um, m dot ordinal m dot ordinal plus in a double quote some space in a double quote, 1 second, I just wanted to have a array of that particular values. Okay, so let me just print this one first, later we'll check. Battery is low. Compiled fine, showing the values properly, right? Intention is a simple, your month dot values means it will give you array of values. Okay, array of Jan, Feb, March and April, right? So I'm using a for in a format of for each loop. Okay, so for each element in this particular month dot values, for each element in this particular month dot values, you take out for each, right, single element, it will be taking into a m and it is printing ordinal value of that particular m, right? If this particular part is confusing, that means if you are not comfortable in writing a month data values, you can do one thing, you can create array. Okay, so I'll be saying this one as a m1, and this particular m1 is nothing but month dot values, right? So this month dot values will give it will be giving me array, right, array of values. So what I will be doing is here I'll be taking a array called a m1, right? So now in this array called a m1, all these values will be kept. Okay, so while writing a for loop, I can write month m colon m1. Same output itself. Instead of writing in a two statements, I wrote in a single statement. Same thing. Clear with the methods ordinal and the values. Ordinal will give you an index. Values method will return you all the values of that particular enum. Understood. Okay, for responses, indication that four number, so means these four are listening to the things. No questions, right? Can we proceed further? Yes. Now, intention, so means the next topic what we have to discuss is, we said that we can have a constructors in a enum, right? I'll remove this particular part because concentration should be on a constructor now. Okay, so how you will be having a constructor, it will be having the same name as a class. Okay, same name as a class, done. Then I will write a small statement system.out.println saying that from constructor, right? So this, when a constructor will be executed, when does constructor executes with respect to class?
when object is created.
When object is created. Okay, so during the creation of object, your constructor will be executed. Now, can we create object of our enum? We cannot write, means explicitly we cannot write month m is equal to new month kind of stuff. We said that one. Then where, when, how this particular constructor will be called? Huh. 1 second. If I am writing month m, am I creating object? Am I creating object? Yes. Okay. Now, when I'm see, one says no and another says yes, right? Okay. If that is the case, if object is created means whether this statement will execute, means I'm just giving an answer for your expectation. Means once I run the program, you should have a clarification about your answer. So that is the intention, right? If you say by writing this particular statement, if you are creating an object, this statement should execute, right? So let me just cross check whether that particular statement is executing or not. Compiled fine, nothing has been shown, that means it is not creating an object, right? So what it is doing is it is just creating a reference, not creating object exactly, right? Logical existence is there. See, you are writing integer a in the sense logical existence is there, but a physical presence of that particular value will not be there. This is what we have said when we were discussing the data types. Okay, but means if that is the case, when this particular constructor will be called, that means when object will be created, if you are assigning this particular value, so means this particular variable with respect to some value, correct? Now will it call a constructor? Yes, means I'm asking you a question now. I expect a response. Now, after writing a month m is equal to month dot jan, will it be creating object and will it be calling that particular constructor? Yes. No. Yes. Okay. Whoever has said yes, after seeing the output, you should get some question. Let me show you the output after assigning the month with the jan. Compiled fine. What has happened? How many times the constructor has been called? 4 times. What is the indication now? A question in the chat box. Sir, when we are assigning a m to Jan, how are we able to access all the constants using m? Means, did you put this question after seeing the output, or this question was with respect to previous example? Previously, sir. Here, so means after this particular example, your question will be clear. Right. Now, observe the things carefully. What you have done, you have assigned only one value to m. Okay, you have assigned only one value to m. But how many times a constructor is executing? Constructor is executing 4 times. Then what does it mean? It means whenever you are trying to create one value, whenever you are trying to create one value with respect to enum, it will be automatically creating all these values for you, right? Out of all these values, you might be assigning a one value to m, but internally it will be preparing everything for you. It means something like this. Say for example, if you are creating a variable called as integer, and we said that 4 bytes will be allocated for an integer, right? Value might be a small, say for example you wanted to just store a value called as a sum 2, right? For a storing a 2, 4 bytes is not required exactly, right? But it is allocating a 4 bytes to you, right? Why am I explaining this particular part is we are saying enums are nothing but a data types only, correct? I'm just correlating those things, right? Even though if you are using only one value, it is creating a space, that means it is making you to use all those values, it is making you ready with respect to all those values. That means if you are creating one particular object, right, constructor, that means enum is ready with respect to all the constants whatever you have created. That means once you call one person from the enum, then everybody is ready. So that is the reason why enum is called as collection of constants, right? So this was the only reason why I can use month dot values method directly, and I said that if I'm using enum dot values, I can assign this one to a array, right? array of values of type m. Clear with the example? Understood this particular constructor part? Constructor will be executed for each object created, right? What I'm saying is, whenever you are trying to access one value, right, whenever you are trying to create one object, this constructor will be called for all the objects in a enum. Hope things are clear. So isn't this like we are assigning a jan to m? Yes, we are assigning a jan to m. What I mean to say is, during the creation, that means when you have said a month dot jan, that means you are calling a your enumerator, right? When you are calling a enumerator, all those constants will be created. This is what I'm saying. After creating all those constants, only jan will be assigned to m, right? Month dot jan, if you are writing a month dot jan, that means all the constants will be created when that particular enum has been called. That means when you are creating object of that particular enum, all the constants will be created. Only one, whichever is a month dot jan, only jan will be assigned to a that particular m, but internally everything will be created. Is that clear? So if you want to access a feb, then we will use m only. See, that is what I'm saying you. If I am writing here Feb instead of a Jan, if I am writing a Feb, here also, first what will happen? It will means anyhow it has to first go through the month, then only it has to go through the Feb, right? What I mean to say is, I'll tell you. If I am writing integer I, right? Am I creating an object? Not creating object, just created reference of the that particular class. Now that means what will be a size of this particular I? The size of this particular I will be a 0, because it will be a just a logical existence, not a physical existence. Now for this particular